COP29 Towards a Sustainable Future. The 2024 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP29, has begun in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. World leaders, scientists, and activists from across the world are expected to attend the summit, which will last from 11th November to 22nd November. The primary goal of COP29 is to bring together countries to develop a shared plan for curbing further global warming. It would also focus on scaling up climate finance to help developing nations tackle the adverse effects of climate change. What is COP? COP29 refers to the 29th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The COP meetings are annual gatherings where countries come together to negotiate and discuss global climate action and policies. The COP is the main decision-making body under the UNFCCC, which was established in 1992 to address climate change and its impacts. The UNFCCC commits members or parties to act together to stabilize greenhouse gas concentrations at a level that would prevent dangerous anthropogenic interference with the climate system. Climate change. Climate change refers to the long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. Such shifts can be natural due to changes in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruptions. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. Burning fossil fuels generates greenhouse gas emissions that act like a blanket wrapped around the earth, trapping the sun's heat and raising temperatures. The main greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. Energy, industry, transport, buildings, architecture, and land use are among the major sectors causing greenhouse gases. Climate scientists have shown that humans are responsible for virtually all global heating over the last 200 years. Human activities like the ones mentioned above are causing greenhouse gases that are warming the world faster than at any time in at least the last 2000 years. The average temperature of the Earth's surface is now 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer than it was in the late 1800s. The last decade, that is 2011 to 2020, was the warmest on record. Many people think climate change mainly means warmer temperatures. But the consequences of climate change include, among others, intense droughts, water scarcity, severe fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting polar ice, catastrophic storms, and declining biodiversity. Climate change can affect our health, ability to grow food, housing, safety, and work. Some of us are already more vulnerable to climate impacts, such as people living in small island nations and other developing nations. The greenhouse gas emissions come from every part of the world and affect everyone, but some countries produce much more than the others. The six biggest emitters, China, USA, India, European Union, Russian Federation, and Brazil, together accounted for more than half of the global greenhouse gas emissions in 2023. By contrast, the 47 least developed countries accounted for only 3% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Climate action. The first major breakthrough came at COP3 in Kyoto in 1997 when the parties adopted the Kyoto Protocol. It mandated emissions reductions for industrialized countries, setting a collective target of a 4.2 reduction by 2012 from 1990 levels. However, the Kyoto Protocol did not last long as the rich and powerful countries were not happy with its provisions. At COP21, the landmark Paris Agreement set a goal to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius, ideally at 1.5 degrees Celsius, and introduced the nationally determined contributions, which is the climate action plan for each country. At last year's COP28 in Dubai, a loss and damage fund was officially launched. The fund is meant to provide financial help to countries struck by climate disasters. COP29. The theme is In Solidarity for a Green World. Climate finance is at the top of the agenda of COP29. To assist the countries in climate change mitigation and adaptation, climate finance involves funding activities aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and adapting to impacts of climate change. This year's discussions will focus on mobilizing the climate finance to support global sustainability efforts, advancing technological innovations in renewable energy, developing comprehensive strategies for global adaptation to climate vulnerability. The parties are negotiating the new collective quantified goal, a new amount that must be mobilized by developed countries every year from 2025 onward to finance climate action in developing countries. COP29 has also focused on carbon credits and global carbon credit market rules. Carbon credits are permits that allow the owner to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. One credit allows the emission of 1 ton of carbon dioxide or the equivalent of other greenhouse gases. India at COP29. At COP29, India remains a strong advocate for equity, climate justice, and increased financial and technological support for developing countries. India has committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2070 as part of the Paris Agreement. India is at the forefront of global renewable energy efforts with a target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2030.